Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Last First Date Radio, featuring interviews with experts in dating, relating, and mating in midlife. And now, here's your host, Sandy Weiner.
Hello, everybody. This is Sandy, and welcome to Last First Date Radio, the place to be for creating healthy, lasting relationships in midlife. Today, I have a special show for you. We do not have an expert, but we have somebody that I am coaching live on the air. Her name is Christina. She's a 50-year-old busy single mom, and she wants to know how to find love in a rural area with a full-time job. And I know this is going to resonate for a lot of my audience, so you're going to want to listen to this show. And just before I bring Christina on, I just want to say that if you have given up on love and you're over 40, please know that love is possible with the right tools and skills, and that is what I love teaching. And it really all begins with you honoring and loving yourself more and becoming the woman of value who attracts in the toe-curling epic love that's possible at any age. Every week I bring you a tip on how to become that woman of value, and this week's tip is step number 21, be vulnerable. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about what vulnerability is. I know for myself, I did not understand that vulnerability was actually a strength and not a weakness. And Brene Brown made it very popular to embrace vulnerability. And the reason vulnerability is so important is that we cannot have an intimate, honest, open relationship with somebody unless we bring our full self, the good, the bad, the ugly, the weak, the parts of us that are messy, not perfect. And so the more comfortable we get with our own vulnerability, the more comfortable our partner will be in sharing his or her vulnerability with us. And before I bring on Christina, I just wanted to say that Christina is part of my private Facebook group, which is called Your Last First Date. And if you are not a member yet, join us. This is a fabulous group, Christina can attest to that, where you don't feel alone. And Christina was just telling me that we all have, people live in all kinds of areas where they don't always have support that's positive. You might have a parent who thinks they're supporting you, or a friend who's married and doesn't really understand where you're coming from, or somebody who has never done online dating and has no idea what you're doing and thinks you're crazy to do online dating. Well, this is a group that's going to support you and help you to move forward. So join us at Your Last First Date. And now for my special guest, Christina. She's a 50-year-old single mom. She has a 14-year-old daughter. She works full-time. She lives in a rural area, and she wants to know, how can she meet men? She has tried online dating without any luck. She's been divorced since 2013, and she feels ready to meet somebody to date and have a beautiful relationship with. So join me now for episode number 310, How Can a Busy Single Mom Who Works Full-Time Find Love? Welcome to the show, Christina.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for joining me and being brave enough to be coached live on the air.
Yes.
So tell us first, I think let's start with a little bit about your background. You were married. Tell us what that marriage was like not the whole story, but just sort of the cliff notes of what were some of the red flags, the things that did not work for you in the past.
Well, I feel I was pretty young, and there was red flags from day one, but I just chose to ignore them. I did not have any support as far as like friendships or websites or anything that told me, here is a good relationship and those kind of things. I do come from parents who have been married forever, but that didn't help me really in my dating life. And so then, it kind of became, well, we were together 5 years, so we need to get married kind of thing. And we got married. We were totally different. He was just different than I was. We did not have a lot in common, which caused a lot of problems. He wanted to be doing things that I didn't want to be doing, and I chose to do other things. And There were good times, of course, but overall it wasn't a good fit. But I was going to make it work because that's just what you do. And, unfortunately, like I said, I didn't know what a good relationship could be, hadn't really studied that, just thought it was going to happen. It's going to happen whatever you do. So anyway, that's kind of a background on that.
Yeah, so a couple of questions.
Sure.
You mentioned that you didn't have a lot in common, and that can certainly get in the way of a healthy relationship, but there were probably some other red flags, because that's not enough to drive a wedge between people. You can have a healthy relationship and have different interests. But what were some of the needs of yours that weren't met, or red flags that popped up that you now see?
Not really supportive of my career. Didn't really understand my career. Always thought he worked harder than I did because I was a professional. It was fine that I went to work, but it would have been better if I would have stayed at home and just helped around the family. And then, toward the end of it, he also started drinking, and I became fearful. He wasn't a nice drinker, so I became fearful, and that's what the final straw was. I just needed to get out.
Okay, so he was an alcoholic, and
yes.
like angry, violent. Was he like?
No, not violent, but just angry. You know how they say there's happy drunks and there's mean drunks and angry drunks or whatever. And he was just angry, and I could do nothing wrong when he was drinking. I could do nothing right when he was drinking.
Nothing right. Yeah. So he was an angry drunk. Yeah. So there's like verbal abuse, and it sounds like you didn't get respect, and you weren't really cherished for who you were, but he tried to make you into something you weren't. Does that sound accurate?
One thing that really bothered me, Yes, one thing that really bothered me is I think back, and this is probably a minor thing, but it really bothered me. Like, he liked to cook, and he would never let me dish out how much I wanted. He always had to fill my plate. And I know that just seemed, in hindsight, that seems so wrong. But, I don't,
Right. So it's wrong for a number of reasons. And I think one of the things that really helps is when you start to make sense of the real, like, when you peel back the layers of, okay, filling my plate, what does that mean? What does that represent, and what is the need of yours that got stepped on there? So, what is that for you? What was going on for you when he would say, I want to fill your plate?
I think it was control, and he wanted me to not lose weight ever because, then I don't know what he thought would happen, but, I don't think that was, you know what I mean? It was always 4 times the amount that any person needs.
Oh, wow. So he wanted you to gain weight.
Probably. And then he was like, well, you didn't eat my home cooking. I made that hard, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I can't.
Wow. So, yes, controlling behavior, force, really bad stuff. Okay, so these are some of the red flags that you are looking to avoid in the next relationship. That's why it's important to not to rehash past relationships, but to learn from them. And that's true about every date. So when you start going on dates, because I know that's been an issue, not even being able to find the dates, but when you start going on them, then you're going to use the same kind of method to really look at each date and say, are there any red flags right away? Are there any red or yellow flags? But you start with what you like about a person, but we'll get to that afterwards. So let's say you learn some important things. You need somebody you have things in common with. You need somebody who is not a drink, doesn't drink or have addictions. Somebody who's not controlling, but really cherishes you for who you are, not for who you're not try to make you into something that you're not, right?
Yes.
Anything else you learned from this relationship?
Maybe that don't waste time when you know it's not right. Don't stay in a relationship for years and years.
Mhm.
Expecting it to get better.
Mhm. Yeah. So part of that is knowing what you need from the outset, knowing yourself, loving yourself enough to know what is right and what's not right. That's how you know, well, should I stay or should I go?
Mhm.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So so you've learned some very important things, and that's important. So the one other thing I want to talk about, and that's past related, is did your husband seem familiar to you? Did he remind you of somebody else in your life?
I would say no. He almost reminded me of someone I never knew.
What does that mean?
Not my father, not my brother. Just more of a risk taker and like the party life kind of thing, you know.
Mhm.
Like to be around other people, those kind of things. I don't know what you call that kind of person, but
like an extrovert and a risk taker.
Yeah. Mhm.
Did you feel that you grew up in a very kind of controlled atmosphere where you weren't allowed to take risks?
I don't know if it was controlled, but we just didn't do anything like that. Both of my parents didn't, have family that we did anything with. We pretty much went to church and kind of, holidays were just us. I never grew up around the big family and, all those kind of things. So I think that's very attractive to me too, is that someone with an extended family that, kind of accepts each other no matter what, unconditionally. Of course, not for terrible things, but, it doesn't matter if you, who or what you are, you're loved unconditionally.
Mhm. So he did he have a large family that was appealing to you? Was that part of the appeal?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
More so than mine, yes.
Okay. So often we're looking for things that we think we need, and we miss the big red flags that show that even though those things might be present, they're not going to work for you.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. All right. So bring us back to today. So we know that's what you don't want. And what are some of the positive things that you're looking for today besides somebody with a large extended family? Like, what are some of the values and character traits that are important to you?
Hard worker, but also knows boundaries, because I've had to work on myself with that. I, was raised with that. You work till the job's done, no matter what. You sacrifice your family, and just in the last few years, I've come to get a better balance of that. There is time for work and there's time for home. I know I want that. And just, I always say I'm not as interested in someone as visually stimulating as intellectually stimulating. And by that I don't mean, you read the New York Times or anything, but just somebody that I can converse with. We can talk about silly things or we can talk about the news, just somebody that's pretty well-rounded in areas that, and, I know one thing that really bothered me before is, like, I'm a person that if you give me your side, even if I don't agree with it, I'll give you the respect to listen to you. But that wasn't how my marriage was. It was like there was his way and that was it. There was no other way.
Yeah.
So I'd really like someone that even if they didn't agree with me, they still listened to me, valued my opinion. Just a friend like that, I have friends like that they probably don't agree with me, but they're willing to listen to me and to acknowledge that my side is valid also.
Yeah, beautiful. So respect, somebody you can talk to about anything, somebody who knows how to balance work and home, somebody with boundaries, and somebody who works hard, but also understands the value of family.
Yes.
All right, so bring us to today. How you're divorced since 2013, so 5 years, right? And
yes.
So tell us what your dating life has been like for the last 5 years.
Well, honestly, when I first went through my divorce, I don't know what I went through. I don't know what transition you call that, but I just went, guy to guy to guy to guy. I don't know if I was looking for validation or what it was, and I think I was just using them to, I don't know. I went through that period, and then I did do some serious dating online, and then it seems like I wasn't having, and I get so frustrated because sometimes, there'll be men that just want to talk. Well, I don't want to talk. I want to do something, talking's fine, but either we need to go out or not, and, so, and then the ones that I didn't, meet, talk to, whatever, I just thought, no, I can't do this. And I did have a guy from my hometown, which is about 2 hours away from here, I dated. Went really well, but he moved way too fast. He was older than I was. So it was kind of like, whoa, I can't get back into a marriage right now. I know myself. I cannot do this. I wasn't at a healthy spot. He was a great guy. I'm sure it might have worked because, there's something about when you grow up around someone, their family, they know your family, they know your values, all that stuff. There's something about that that's very appealing, but it was just maybe the right guy at the wrong time. And so I knew I hurt him, but I had to get away from that because I was suffocating.
Well, when you say too fast, give me an idea what that means.
Oh, like we dated, and then I would say, let me think about this. 4 months into it, he wanted to get me, he's like, oh, will you marry me? Let's go look at rings, those kind of things, And and I thought it was fun. I liked doing it, but every night I would go home and go, oh, I can't do this, like I'm losing my breath here. Yeah,
so I just want to just put a little perspective on that in a healthy relationship, it doesn't move that quickly usually. And if you need time and you feel like you're suffocating, then it's, again, you're looking for somebody with mutual respect, and a person who doesn't respect your need for time is not the right person for you. Even if it's the wrong time, he's not the right person because he's not respecting your needs.
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense,
so,
yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Like my ex-husband came on strong, and within 2 months he proposed, and it was like, whoa, slow down. But I didn't know how to slow it down because I didn't have boundaries in those days, and nobody else was asking me to marry him. So I was just like, okay, I'm getting old. I need to get married, have kids. So it's really about understanding that in a healthy relationship, you build trust slowly. Like you don't know everything about a person in 4 months. You haven't seen him go through crisis. You don't know what he's like with the ups and downs. And so that's a form of like love bombing. It's almost like you don't feel seen fully by that person because they're on this sort of fast train. I mean, did that come up for you? Like you didn't really feel like he was seeing you necessarily, but sort of wanted to be married again?
No, it could have been anyone, I think. Yeah, I think so, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's an important thing to pay attention to in the future, that somebody moves really fast. It's actually a boundary that they're crossing. And so part of this is learning how to speak up about your boundaries and about your needs from the very beginning.
I've never done that.
Yeah, that's a big, big key to getting into the healthy relationship you want. So part of this is okay, online dating didn't work out. Before we get into some solution here, I just want to hear a little more. So you dated online for how long?
Probably on and off a year and a half. And I remember my one friend said, you need to go on eHarmony. That's where professionals are. So I did that, and the closest match was in Nebraska. I mean, the closest person on there was in Nebraska, so that's like 3 hours away. So there wasn't anybody even on there.
Complaint I hear a lot. I don't usually have mine. Actually, eHarmony was a sponsor of the show for a bit, so I'm not going to bash them, but it is true that a lot of people get on and have disappointing results because there's not a big enough pool.
Right.
So not every site is going to work. And did you try other sites as well?
Match was Match was where I think around here I've had the most luck. And then two of my friends have actually married men from Match, and it's worked out great. So that's probably the best. You know, there's plenty of fish around here, and that's a free one. And I never met anyone off of there, ever.
Okay. So Match was a little bit successful, but nothing long term.
No.
Okay.
And the way
so
I
when you
got
say,
reacquainted with, excuse me.
No,
the way I got reacquainted with the guy with, sorry, I don't mean to talk over you.
Not the guy that you dated from your hometown?
Oh, yes, from my hometown. Facebook was where we met. I mean, we didn't meet, but we, you know how when you get on Facebook, like I open my Facebook account and then people from your hometown kind of start talking to you, know, that, and so you're like, hey, you know, and that's how that happened.
So there have been a few ways that you've met men, through Facebook, through a few dating sites. Okay. And when you say online dating didn't work, just tell me a little bit more about what that meant.
Well, the ones around here that I met, again, they just wanted to talk. They didn't really want to go out and date or anything like that. They just want a friend, I think, or somebody to text with all day, you know. And, you know, and then people my age usually don't have younger children. So, or if they do, you know, they're younger. But I think that's just hard in itself. And I know one of my biggest things is, like, I don't have a lot of freedom usually because I don't have anyone to help me with my daughter. And she cannot be left alone, you know. So that's tough. But I have resolved that. I've worked on that and found some people that can help me out on that. I've also found someone that can help me with a little housework. So those kind of things have definitely freed me up that I would have never thought of before to make me a better and more willing person to, you know, to be available, those kind of things. You're
getting your ducks in a row. You're finding
creative
solutions. That's good. That's good.
I'm trying.
So what I'm hearing is you are resourceful. You have, based on what you've shared with me, you have gotten out of a bad marriage. You're beginning to recognize red flags sooner. You tried online dating a few different ways, and you're now covering your child care and your housework. So
yes, and friends that have introduced me to people. Friends that have introduced me to people. It's never been anyone I'm interested in, or you know, it never works out, or they don't ask me out, or something like that. You know.
So here's how to date as a woman of value, and that's my whole thing, as you know. So a woman of value takes control of her love life as she takes control in the other areas of her life, and that means that when you ask for a setup, you are really specific about what you want, and you don't just go out with somebody based on the fact that you're a woman and he's a man, which is how most people set people up. So I'll give you a real quick primer on how I recommend people ask for a setup, and that is that you find 2 or 3 people that you know who are connectors, people who have a wide network of people that they know. Like, they love to connect and network, right? Can you think of 1 or 2, 3 people like that?
Sure.
Okay. So you take those 3 people and you set up a coffee date with them. You say, you know, I want to talk to you about something really important to me. When do you have time to sit down? I'm really excited about this. And then you sit down with them and you say, look, I'm really excited about finding love. I'm finally in a good position now. Everything you just told me. And then you say, I know you know a ton of people. And I'm wondering if your husband works out at Planet Fitness, and maybe he knows some men who work out at the gym with him. Do you think that, you know, if he has some single guys there, that he could maybe introduce me? This is what I'm looking for. So you're really specific. I'm looking for a man. You just give him the character traits that you just gave me. He's a hard worker. He has boundaries. He balances work and home. You know, he's okay with somebody who has a 14-year-old daughter. All those things. And, you know, they may not know somebody in their own sphere, but that's what networking is about. It's about people who know people who know people. And this is where people really don't do this. This is like it's a sort of a super ninja trick. that I learned from another dating coach, Rachel Greenwald, and I just thought it was brilliant because the networkers out there love to make connections. And if they know specifically what you need, they'll be better at fixing you up with somebody. So that's your first homework assignment is find those 3 people.
What a great idea.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. I think of my friend who's always trying, every time she sees me, no matter where, she's like, hey, that guy's single, blah, blah, blah. Now, this would be better because then maybe we could talk about something else and I could give her my boundaries, or my rules or what I like.
Yes. So you appreciate first. I really appreciate that you always think of me and are always trying to set me up. And here's the thing, that if it's just a random setup, I'm just going to get burnt out if I meet all these men and go out with them because they're not going to be a good fit. But can I tell you what would work better for me? And then you go into your little spiel.
Okay.
Okay? And she'll probably love it because she's already trying to fix you up. So now you're giving her a formula. This is what I want. And you can even, something I did once is I copied my online profile and I sent it out to like 20 people. And I said, here's me. Online dating isn't working so well for me right now. And I know you know a lot of people, and I'm hoping that maybe you know somebody I don't know. And so, it's getting really creative with how you meet people. Okay? So since you're in a rural area and you're not so close to a lot of people and your time is limited, you want to get strategic about how you find love. So that's one way. Another thing is to really maximize your online dating experience. And so you would want to have the best profile. Did you write your own profile essay?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So having a dating coach like me or somebody else look at your profile and tweak it. Often what people do when they write their profiles is to write things that their friends may like, but that a man may completely be turned off from. And I'll give you an example from my own profile. Like when I first started this whole process, I was so used to proving my worth through the things that I accomplished that's what I led with. I can do this and I've done this and I can operate power tools and it was all this like really masculine stuff and men were like, great, but like that's cool. I don't really want to date her, but maybe I'll hire her to do some housework around that. I don't know. But yeah, you want to be seen as that balance of who you are as a woman, with your accomplishments too, but you've got to lead with the feminine. Lead with your warmth, lead with the character traits that you're interested in because you want to convey that you're a woman of value, that you have standards, and you want to have that in your profile. So I'd be happy to take a look and talk to you about this offline because that's really key. And then even more important than that is your photos. And your photos convey so much because it's like landing on a website. Have you ever landed on a website where you get on and you're confused about what the person has to offer and you're like, I don't know what this is, and you bounce off, right?
Right.
So your online profile is like a mini website, and it's your advertisement. And if you're not hooking a person within the first millisecond, and that means posting photos that are warm, posting photos that show you doing activities that you love, showing your full breadth of who you are, not the full everything, but like the things that you want a man to know. Like if he's in a relationship with you, he's going to get these things. He's going to get a woman who's, interested in, like, what's a hobby of yours or something that you love?
Sports. I love sports. So I watch lots of sports.
You watch sports? Do you also participate in sports?
No.
Okay, so maybe there's a picture of you wearing what?
I did when I was in high school, but like I love the Dallas Cowboys, so.
Okay, so maybe it's you wearing a Cowboys jersey or something. Or
which goes perfect here in Kansas City Chief area. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that shows some character and it stands out because if you look online, everybody's wearing black. If you look at all the women, they're all wearing black, so they all fade into the background. You put on a red shirt and you're like popped. Right then you're standing out. And so really what you want to do in online dating is you want to stand out from the crowd and make somebody want to date you, And then, there's other stuff. Once this is like a crash course in online dating, but it's just so important to maximize your presence in the world as a woman of value, to get recognized for your value, not be just kind of bland, just really hiding parts of yourself because you want to fit in. It really is important to bring out the quirks, the things that make you, that make you interesting. So, if you're interested in a consult when we're done, I can definitely talk to you about what that might look like. And
sure.
But it's just, once you do this, the attention you get is going to change. You're going to attract more people who are interested in earning you rather than you trying to earn them. You know what I mean? It's like a flip of the switch. And they want to know, what can they do to get you, because you are so awesome. And not every man is going to love you, because you don't want every man to love you. And the last thing that I want to say is, like, these guys who just, get on and don't want to get off the talking part, that's also a way to show up as a woman of value by saying, it's nice getting to know you, but the way I really get to know a man is by speaking to him on the phone. And then if we like each other, going on a date. If you're interested, I'd be happy to share my number. So you got to take control where you can. I know you're not a passive person, because, number one, you showed up for this call. You volunteered to be coached in public. Sure. And you've taken control in every other area of your life. And so I encourage you to take back your control, not as a controlling person, but to control the things you can in the dating process, and then let a man choose you. So you get to choose, how you show up, and then he sees the value and makes the next move. Does that make sense?
Yes, wonderful, yes.
Okay, so you have some homework. Oh, good.
I do.
So tell me your biggest takeaways today.
Well, I'm going to send once I get a profile, I'm going to send it to some friends, or I'm going to meet with coffee with the people that always try to set me up with somebody and tell me everybody's single, and tell them what I'm looking for, and then get my profile, maybe get back on some sites that are, maybe, investigate the sites, which ones will be better rather than just the standard ones, and, which one might have some more men from this area in it, and men of value, not that, I guess, anyway, I'll go on. And then, let's see. What did we say? Oh, and then my profile gets some pictures that really stand out. And just, that sounds like a lot right there, but I think it sounds great.
You got a plan.
I've got a plan. So hey, before I would tell you I was never going to date online again. So.
Yeah, look at that. So you really embrace this, and once you have a plan, you can put it into action, and then you don't feel stuck, and you don't feel like love only happens to people in big cities who have grown children. It's a lot of beliefs that we have that love only happens to certain people other than us. And so now there are things that you didn't yet know, and that you're now going to put into practice, and this goes for all of our listeners too. And I'm excited to see what happens. So will you stay in touch and let me know?
Oh, I will. Yes.
Oh, perfect.
This has been fabulous.
Well,
thank you.
Oh, thank you, Christina. Good luck with your online dating as a woman of value. And I know that the right man is out there. You just got to put yourself out there to let him find you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm smiling because I feel a million times better. I feel like, there is hope.
There's definitely hope, and where there's hope, there's a plan, and that's
right.
So important. So yay! I'm so happy, and thanks again, and thanks everybody for listening in today. And if you like Last First Date Radio, please subscribe to our show, rate and review it wherever you listen to our show, on Stitcher or iTunes or TuneIn or Blog Talk Radio, or wherever you are. We're on pretty much every platform, Google Play. give us a rating and a review and help spread the word even further so that our show continues to grow and reach more people. And I hope that you go on your last first date very soon. Have a great day.